I wanted to do something else, which was look at a deck profile. We haven't done that in a while, but it's a new and exciting format, which, by the way, I just want to say I'm excited for Rage of the Abyss format, to be honest. I'm excited. It feels like a breath of fresh air into the UBL format. And I'm looking at the top cut breakdown of YCS Niagara, and it just makes me want to play rather than the top cut breakdown of YCS Lille, which did not have the same effect. But yeah, one of those decks that performed at YCS Niagara was Ryan Yu on Sky Striker, and we're gonna take a look at Ryan's deck profile today. Now, I already know roughly what to expect. It was a blind second Sky Striker power spell list, but I wanna hear from Ryan himself what he thought about some of the choices, because people in chat were wondering, like, why is there no more Charmies if you're blinding second and all that kind of stuff. And I said, I think that's because those are cards that you don't want to draw into, right? Power spell Sky Striker will draw a lot of cards on their own turn, so you don't want to draw into like more Charmies when you're like in the process of breaking your opponent's board, and so on and so forth. In general, I just want to hear some explanations from Ryan and showcase the deck a little bit. So let's hop in and see what Ryan has to say.
Hey guys, here with Team Raid and Trade with Ryan, and what did you do this weekend?
I got second at Niagara, YCS Niagara Falls.
Any shoutouts?
Yeah, shoutouts to my family, shoutouts to people who let me borrow cards, so that's Joey, Jesse, and Dom.
I really didn't let you cards.
Impulse.
Convoluted, sure.
Oh yeah. I'm not actually sure who Impulses I borrowed, but it was either Dom's or Jesse's, so yeah. Shoutouts to my team, Raid and Trade. Shoutouts to WAF. Shoutouts to all the Toronto guys. And just all my other friends who I can't name all of them, but Enzo, we're gonna win Vegas together. Yeah. And then
You go to events again?
yeah,
I love Enzo, he's so funny.
And then shoutouts to Charlie. Back chasing Charlie Birch.
What the?
His birch.
Yeah, I guess that's I think that's pretty much it.
It's a Charlie t-shirt.
It's a hoodie.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Some good.
I need one. You think it shrinks in the wash?
So I played Sky Striker. I just played pure Sky Striker because I had midterms this week, so I didn't have time to test. So I just made a list in an hour before going to class one day, and then submitted it without testing. So 3 Ray, 1 Rose, and then that's all the monsters. So I didn't play Chummy, either of them, because when you blind second with this deck and you're just trying to break whatever deck's board, you kind of need all of your cards to be live. So if you play Furlus or Prulia, and then they get cross-headed, or they get hit with Ash or Called By or something, or if you get Talenced, you like lose crazy value. So it's kind of more consistent to just have a 6th spell in your hand than to try to like take the mind game of, not the mind game, the gamble more so, of like, if you Furlus them, maybe they'll give you cards, but like if it gets Ashed, you pretty much lose on the spot against a competent deck. And then also if they're not good draws, going second, like as your 6th. And I know it's kind of like, I thought it would be cooler to play them, play without them, so.
I thought it'd be cooler to play without them. Okay.
I think that's all the reasons. Is that all of them?
You kind of just
Oh,
want them
also,
to play.
Also, yes, that's the other one. I need them to play, because if I Furlus someone and they pass, I actually lose. Like against this deck, if you play against this deck and I like make you start, you should pass and I'll lose like 100% of the time.
Well, not 100. If you have right linkage.
Okay, I'll lose a lot of the time.
Yeah, if you don't have right linkage.
That also loses like one emperor.
Loses Emperor
Or
This is true. Sky Striker, like the way it works at the moment, unless you can outright kill them, which is not that easy actually. Like killing someone immediately is not that simple with Sky Striker, but like the way the deck functions is like you try to take apart your opponent's board and run them out of resources, and you don't want them to be super strong on the crackback, right? Like whenever I'm playing Striker in Master Duel, and that's actually unironically one of those decks that might not want to play Maxi for that reason as well in Master Duel, because if your opponent just passes and you can't kill them, they will just unleash their full power on you next turn, and what are you gonna have? Like a Shark Cannon and a Widow Anchor? Like, nah, you're gonna die with that.
Or Bistro, or Ogre, or...
Yeah.
Sky Striker is basically Tenpai, but their Chandra is 2 cards and only does 20% of the damage. Well, you're not fun at parties, dude. Not with that attitude.
Yeah, because a lot of the cards in my deck only like trade for value going second. Like the way that you play this deck against Snake Eye is you let them full combo, don't interrupt them, then you crack their board and they have 0 follow-up because they kind of commit like most of their deck and extra deck into the board. But if you Frulos them and then they pass, and then you like set up 2 Widow Anchors or something, they're just gonna kill you next turn because they still have all their resources. So you actually need them to play. So that's why these are the only monsters. And this ratio is pretty standard now. 3 engage, 2 linkage, 1 drones, 3 widow, 2 shark, 1 burner, 1 roll. This is obviously like all standard except maybe like these 2, these 3 spells are like obviously it's 3, 3, 1. And then for these cards, multi-roll is a card that you search when you have to play like a grindy matchup or if you have enough skies.
So if people just passed, he would have lost. Noted. This is something that happens fairly often in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is you make a meta call, and you don't expect everyone to react perfectly to your meta call, right? Like no one, or like not no one, but like most people are not gonna figure out how to beat your unusual deck right away. When everyone's focus when preparing for a tournament is obviously going to be the popular decks, the relevant decks, the meta decks, and all that kind of stuff. That is the main point of making a meta call like this one. Of course, his reason for making this meta call was just he wanted to have fun with Sky Strikers and didn't have time to prepare. But like, those are the advantages of playing rogue decks like that. Is like people are not going to figure out how to play perfectly on the fly immediately.
Trigger spells to get this online. It's very good, but it's kind of a brick because it makes you waste a card for an effect going second. So it's like a pseudo brick. It's not awful to draw, but you just don't need more than 1/2 to grind. If this gets banished by Desires, it's also just not a big deal.
Wait, which card are we talking about? I forgot. Can I see the cards?
Searching. 1 burner. I play a lot of other power spells that have higher impact than this, but this is good because there are certain matchups where you need to be able to search back or hate, or like even like some matchups where you need to kill a monster, and this is the best way to do it. But you don't play 2 because it's a bit of a brick.
It was multi-roll?
And
okay.
You also kind of want to maximize how many cards are good going first and second in this deck to build for top cut, because people can make you start when they know what you're playing. And then 2 Shark Cannon was, because if this gets banished off Desires, it really sucks. You actually usually need one in most matchups. It has just random uses against everything.
Yo,
like
cards!
Against Labyrinth, I was using this to banish their grind game. Against Snake Eye, I was stealing Sylvia like all weekend with this, and then you take it as an Omni Negate. Like a really common interaction was like, you break their board a bit, set
now
up
back to Ryan.
Yugioh, and then Shark Cannon, summon Sylvia, reset Shark Cannon. So you like have the Sylvia negate, and then you can Shark Cannon something else like a Princess or a Flamberge. And then 2 linkage, because this is kind of your way to push for damage to end the game, because this deck doesn't really OTK. Like, it'll crack the board, but it won't end the game. So it's good to have this to apply pressure. You want to be searching it with Engage or Shizuku to try to end the game faster. That's also really why it's important to play at least 1 Rose, so you can make the linkage go for game. I only actually did the linkage, like, Ray OTK once in top 8. It's, like, extremely rare that it comes up, especially because it plays into so many hand traps. But it's good to have the option to push for damage. Here's the spells. 3 Thrust, 2 Talents, 3. Just a lot of board-breaking spells.
Alright, dude, I'm always so afraid of playing Desires in this deck, but I get that you have to. I get that you have to, right? But like I would just feel like you would be drawing 2 Desires with this deck hella consistently, right? You're drawing with Talons a lot of the times, you're drawing with Upstart, you're drawing with Engage.
Most of this doesn't super need an explanation. Like I wouldn't say it's like standard or not standard because people don't really play this deck. So I kind of just went off a list that I was playing in Master Duel.
Have you still banned in the TCG?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So Thrust is broken. This is like one of the best.
Also one.
This is one of the best cards in the deck, because it searches Engage, and also post side. This card can search the cards that I play in my side deck. So it's just a very good card. Like going first, even it's fine if someone tries to chummy you or shifter you, and then it becomes live. And going second, this is just like another copy of Engage is broken. 2 Talents because this card's just very good overall. But this card like kind of turbo draws through itself. Like you have Engage, you have Upstart, you have Thrust, Talents, Desires. You really don't want to be like drawing into multiples of cards that are dead. So that's why there's not 3 of these. And it's not like you want to see it sometimes but not all the time. It's actually like a pretty valid thing with Striker because of how much draw power you have. You need
I wonder what the I wonder how that's different between talents and desires. I mean, I can see one difference between the two is that desires can be activated first card. Like you can start your turn with it to start making your thrusts live and all that kind of stuff. So like that is one difference, I feel like. But other than that, they are quite similar in that regard.
need to maximize your odds of drawing live cards, like off your Engages, Rips, because those draws actually matter. And then 3 Desires, 3 Upstart. 3 Upstart was like no complaints. It just sucks when you get drilled, but this deck is pretty weak in a drill, so you kind of just accept that you take the L at the bat. I would for sure play this. It's good going first, it's good going second. Just your hands that have Engage in them are so much better than the hands that don't, that you just want to play like a 34 card deck. And then 3 Desires. This does suck to draw on multiple. I drew like, not even like Desires into Desires, but just like a raw 3 Desires in my hand like twice. And then like when you count in drawing Desires after I used it off Engage, or like Desiring into Desires, also having a ton. But even with all that, I would still play 3, because this card is like one of the best cards to start your turn. It helps you play through Ash, because like when you're baiting through negates, you just want to have as many cards that say draw as possible, because that way if they have an Ash, it means that one more of your cards will resolve. So I would 100% play 3 of this. This deck would not be playable without Desires. Well, it's not actually playable with Desires, but 2 Lightning Storm, Feather Duster. These are really broken because back row hate is super important in this format. Like against pretty much any deck, you will get crazy value if you can hit their back row. This also doubles as monsters. I did that a couple times. But against like the Snake Eye decks, this is really powerful because like it threatens Desiree. So these will always trade with Desiree because you can try to kill the sequence. Like against any actual back row deck, these will just destroy them. They're like honestly just very good in any matchup. It's also huge that these kill Azaroon, because it's still considered a trap once it's on the field. So that came up several times. 2 Cosmic, 2 Droplet. These are kind of in the same category of cards that I wanted to have in the main deck to help you.
Show the cards!
Going first, because these can both be set and used as a good disruption when they force you to start. And they're also very good going second. Their most like valuable applications are hitting Desiree. So like with Droplet, if you activate a card that they try to negate with Desiree, you Droplet send away that card, so then Desiree can't negate it. It's just also, like the common uses for this are still very good. And for Cosmic, you can Cosmic the sequence, and then the Desiree will not negate anything. And that's even better, because then the sequence is gone from the game forever. They can't recycle it with Engraver. And then both of these cards are just extremely solid. Like they both have like probably 5 extra applications that I can't like name all of them, but like hitting Nightmare Throne or something, or dodging Impermanent Kagari or something. Both of these cards are just super broken. But like the Desiree stuff is mainly why these are strong right now, I think. And then 2 Regeki. Like it's just not 3.
Okay, that was long enough. Yeah, that I was about to say, dude, that's a long time to show those Regekis, dude.
Like, see another Regeki off Engage.
That was almost too long for my liking. I'll be honest with you.
Once in this deck for the most part. But this card's really solid, especially against Yubel. This card's very good. Because that deck has more of an issue with like getting Regeki for all of its monsters. Although Snake Eye actually does too. Like against both these matchups, I would be very happy to draw Regeki. I don't think I actually ever drew this and had it be bad. It was amazing every time. And then last cards in the main deck are these. This is standard. This is shoutouts to Ray for telling me to play Called By, because I forgot to put it in at first. It was amazing every time I drew it.
Shoutouts to Ray. Do you like talk to Ray often?
It negates Sylvia, it negates Ash, it negates Droll, it negates Phantom, it negates like all the Fire King cards. It's broken.
I think it's right.
Like the dual spirit from GX. Like it's just Ray sitting next to him when he builds his deck.
It does.
Guys, I know it's Raymond Die, dude. I know, you don't have to explain to me. I got it. That was the joke. I get it.
It does negate Ray. That never happened.
The 10 guy that tributes himself against that.
It does negate Gain Record. And then 1 Imperm. Just because if I played against Tenpai and then they forced me to start and then like shifted me or used one of the Ferocious, I wanted to be able to thrust for an interrupt. And that actually happened. Like I won a game because of that, so it was cool. Just the one's fine. But again, like the reason you're not playing a bunch of hand traps is because you don't want to trade poorly into cross out. Or against like the combo decks, if they can just play through an impermanent end on the same board, then you've looped yourself for a card that could have been a spell to make the board. Extra deck. 3 Kagari. I don't have. Oh, yeah, let's see. 2 Shizuku. You only need 2 these days because you're blinding second. And even if they force you to go first, honestly, you only ever need 1 Shizuku to win the game if it resolves. So as long as you switch engage once, you should be fine. 2 Hayate. This is a fine number. Hayate is like good for sending spells, but it's actually more important just for chip damage because it helps you put them in the range where you can OTK them later. It's not that big of a deal that you can't send with this also because I'm siding Impulse, and I probably wouldn't be doing that if I cared more about the send. But I mean, it's just Sky Striker, it's solid. 1 Kana, shoutouts to Marcus Carice. I didn't have to Kana anyone in time, so you know, like I'm sure people will try to find like a bunch of reasons for like explaining why Sky Striker talked and like to like discredit the deck. But there's no chummies. I didn't scam anyone in time. Like the deck's just not good, but it's like tier 2.
He went on a full tangent of like, yeah, stop down talking on this deck. Like I didn't use chummies. I didn't win in time. The deck's actually, well, it's not good. Bro backpedaled immediately.
So
It's like, watch your words, use your words carefully here, Ryan.
no, I'm being honest, right?
I know, but like, yeah.
Like I was just playing to have fun. So
Yeah.
1 Zeke, 1 Azalea. Zeke is super standard in Striker, especially good against like any deck where you're trying to play a back and forth grind game. Being able to banish one of their cards for a turn is just amazing, and it helps you link stuff off. It helps you bridge links. And then 1 Azalea. I put this in the last card because I didn't know what else to play, and it was actually surprisingly insane. Like I didn't even realize how good this card was until I started playing it. So because my deck has 35 spells, my Azalea pretty much never has to destroy itself when I use the on-summon effect. So you can use this to clear 2 bodies a lot of the time, like with both of its effects. And it's extremely convenient to make because lights and darks are so prominent. Like Silhouette Rabbit is a light. All the White Forest cards, just random, like the regular darks like IP. Like it's actually extremely easy when you're cracking a board to bridge through Azalea at one point for 1 or 2 extra pops. And this also serves the role of like if you have Widow Anchors and Shark Cannons but you bricked, so you have no engine, you can link into Striker Engine with this because Camellia is not out yet.
Rip.
Hmm?
Is that rip?
Yeah.
Or that other one.
What other one?
The link, the big one? 2,500 attack?
This combined maneuver is not in the game.
It's no. I would have played Combined Maneuver.
True.
Coming soon on Master Duel.
I don't know, man.
What else am I if not a Master
Enzo's a
Duel?
Master Duel player now too.
Ryan and I both played Master Duel decks this weekend.
Yeah. So these are the rest of my link monsters. All of these kind of just are no explanation broken. These 2 cards have kind of fallen out of favor recently. Like this sees play in the Snake Eye deck, but this doesn't really see play at all. It's like sometimes people play it,
What?
but yeah, like a decent amount of my Snake Eye opponents are like Yugioh, like they don't
Most
play
of them
them.
for sure don't play it.
Yeah.
I didn't play it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think it's just a matter of these cards have not fallen out of favor. It's just that Fiendsmith cards have been taking up so much extra X slots that like any deck that uses Fiendsmith cards has to really allocate those slots very carefully. Every deck that doesn't play Fiendsmith cards, like every single Snake Eye deck without Fiendsmith cards, I would expect both of these cards to be in it, right? And most other decks that don't have Fiendsmith cards as well.
Hey, I know what I'm talking about.
I
Yeah.
played it.
Yeah, but both these cards are just insanely good because like when you are trying to push for game, you're usually trying to make access code with this deck because it's the only thing that has attack. So it's good to link climb. It's also good to like make plays with SP or like push for damage or like basically anything because when you're stealing your monsters with Widow Anchor, like basically you can get to any attribute combination you want. So both of these are good. It's also like this is naturally Kagari, this is naturally Ray, so you definitely should play both of these in this deck.
Dragonfire, thank you for the 12 months. Cringe, that's what a battle phase is.
The one
You don't need him.
It's just very generic. Like it comes up like Kagari, Widow Anchor, steal something, make SP. It's crazy value, especially if you've bricked on like multiple rays, which I actually had happen a couple times. I would brick on multiple rays, so I would link off my Striker Engine to SP to clear something, and then I knew that I had an array next turn for follow up in hand already. Also, linkage makes this card really good because you can like SP something and then go linkage into Shizuku to get back into engine. And this card's just solid. Oh, and Typhon. This card's super busted. My extra deck was actually something that I was super happy with. Every single card in here won me at least one game, like by having it. The extra deck was perfect. This helps you break the Snake Eye board, because if you steal Flamberge and you don't want to link it off, you put it under this and it won't trigger. And it's also like
That's good.
You take the Flamberge, put this over it, detach Flamberge, bounce Desiree, and then neither Desiree nor Flamberge can activate. And then you don't really need to like, even if this remains in your main monster zone, and you can't Widow Anchor them or something, you usually win against Snake Eye because they actually just can't kill you. It's really funny. Like, you can set up engage with Shizuku and then just pass on this with Shizuku and they won't kill you because you've depleted all their resources and then they lose on the follow-up. I also had a game against Jib where I bricked and my only form of engine was stealing a monster, putting this over it, and just attacking him. So, I mean, I wasn't expecting that, but it was good. I also summoned it against Clifton when he summoned a Harbinger on me in a grind game, and this just turned off the Harbinger instantly. It was really good. Side deck. So there's no...
Against Pure, this is true. Against Fire King, it's not. Yeah, Fire King shouldn't have a problem with follow-up as much as Pure Snake Eye could have, yeah. Like, I mean, with Fire King, you just, like, all you have to do is trigger Garunix into Kieran and you should be good, right? You definitely get rid of the Typhon, then you can just do whatever you want after.
More spells.
But it is true that especially like the decks with like super tight extra decks like Fiendsmith decks and stuff like that, they do go through a good chunk of their resources on turn one if they're not hand trapped. Like these decks these days are really built in a way to play against other hand trap decks to like, you don't need as much follow up or like big extra deck or big resources in your deck when if you get to play through your opponent's hand traps, you win the game most of the time with your boards. You don't have to worry about follow-up as much. And that's kind of what some of these modern decks are doing. Some decks just have crazy follow-up because of the way that they're designed. But like, especially now with the hits to Snake Eyes, like with one Ash, one Poplar, like you can run out of main deck resources. And with how tight the extra deck can be if you play Fiendsmith cards, that can happen. Even though the Fiendsmith cards themselves recycle a lot, you're gonna run out of the other stuff relatively fast because of how much space the Fiendsmith cards take up in your extra deck. You're not gonna have many other options left on turn 2 and turn 3. You can go through your Fiendsmith stuff every turn if you want to, but the other stuff is gonna run out.
My spell card deck, it's just 3 Ash, 3 Impulse. These are just the best hand traps in the format right now, I think, at least for this type of deck, because you're trying to trade for value. Impulse is really important because post side, if you like win game 1, they see what you're playing. Some people will send you first. Some people will try to go first though. It's really hard to guess. Like you pretty much just have to guess. So because of that, I just sided cards that could be good first and second, and Impulse is kind of the definition of that, because I can hold it in hand to be cards like Lightning Storm and Feather Duster, which you would side in against this deck. I mean, there's nothing much to say about this card. This is like one of the best cards in the game. It's like...
Impulse is great. Any deck, I've said it before, any deck that can play Impulse should play Impulse, period.
Pretty much any matchup I would put this in. Like Fire King, I would put this in. Usually I'm like trying to hit Hollowed Azumina with this, if I'm going second. Because it ensures Sylvia doesn't hit the board, so it's like kind of trading with their negates, which is the theme of this deck, not trying to trade with their engine, and then maybe hand looping yourself with like impermanence. So it's much better in that aspect. Good against Tenpeg, good against Vipon. Like this, I just like...
Background breathing. Is it really that bad? I'm not hearing it that much. Maybe it's because I'm not wearing headphones, but I'm kind of hearing it, but it's not bothering me. But maybe it's worse if you're using headphones. But like a bunch of people have been saying it, so it must be.
I'm not even playing this card.
It's fine, guys. It's not everyone is a freaking professional deck profile like recorder. Like it's fine. Whatever.
And then Ash is not for the combo decks. This was more just one of the last like side deck spots that I had for Rogue. Like I played against Labyrinth in top 4. This card was super broken. You can sometimes side this in against Snake Eye if you like. There's a lot of variation in Snake Eye decks right now, and you can kind of tell like which ones, which people like play cross out or like what different engines they have. So you can put this in against Snake Eye and try to hit them, like trade for value, make their end board weaker. But this really was just mainly for Rogue, in case. Because my main deck is so heavily teched to beat the meta decks that it's a little bit weak against other things. And then I played 3 Doom Barrier and 3 Threatening Roar for Tenpai. This deck's Tenpai matchup is like really rough if you don't side these cards, because you're basically flipping for who wins game 1. Because if I get to make them start, I'll destroy them. If they get to make me start, I'll get destroyed. So I wanted to ensure that I wouldn't be like just getting sacked out of the tournament by Tenpai. So I just maxed out Threatening Roar, maxed out Barrier. I played against 3 Tenpai and I beat all of them because of Threatening Roar and Barrier. These are just unreal good. It's also...
It's the thing about Tenpai. Also the thing I feel like we showcased yesterday in Master Duel is like, if you want to beat Tenpai, you can beat Tenpai. The deck is very powerful at what it does, but it is very one-dimensional, right? It does one thing and one thing only. It does that one thing very, very well. But if you stop them from doing that one thing, which is going second and killing you, then the deck is very, very manageable. So
it's also funny when like they can even.
It just requires a lot of deck space, right? Like it doesn't feel great having to side deck like 6 or 9 cards for that kind of matchup. That's presumably relatively bad, right? Like, but it's fine.
Start, you can have a dead thrust in hand. They shifter you, sure, thrust or pass, and they lose on the spot. So, for sure, I would play all of these games. Honestly, there isn't a single card in my main side or extra I would change. I was really happy with the deck. And then the last card was 3DDG. Just, this is what you can...
I mean, of course you're happy. You got second place with Sky Strikers. I feel like that's as good as it gets, almost. I mean, almost, of course. But, like, no one is expecting to win, I feel like, when entering with Sky Striker. I don't think he was expecting to do as well as he did, but, no.
And if you think you're gonna get sent first against Fire King, it's a bit of a gamble. Not just Fire King, like pretty much any generic matchup DDG can come in because of how good it is in response to cards like Cosmic, Twin, and Lightning Storm. And it's lingering, so it's pretty much perfect for what you want in the side deck. And it's a pretty normal thing to set in Skyscraper. But yeah. That's the deck. Thanks for listening to me yap about my spell card strategy. Again, just thanks to all my friends for supporting me. And I don't think I forgot anyone. If I did, I'm sorry. But yeah.
All right, cool. Thick. Look, is this deck top tier? No, it's not. Is this deck cool and a good sign for the format that it was able to perform? Yes. Was it mostly because Ryan is just very good? Also, yes. It's definitely not just... It's not a carried by the deck moment. It's more like carried by the player moment. But it is still... No matter how good you are as a player, your deck still needs to be able to somewhat perform. And if the like, I'm pretty sure like last format, a performance like this wouldn't have been, I mean, not impossible, but like way less likely, because these decks would have been like the blinding second against, like, when you go against like 5 or 6 Yubels in a tournament is definitely different than like from doing it in a format where there's more mid-range decks because of Fuvalos and more like Snake Eyes, which are more manageable than Yubel, believe it or not, going second. Like, the reason Snake Eye is better or more played than Yubel right now is not because its board are more powerful, because the deck that puts up the most powerful board, I think, is still Yubel. But Snake Eyes just is like more flexible overall, has more non-engine slots and all that kind of stuff. So like, it's better for other reasons. So yeah, read the comments. I mean, I'm pretty sure the comments are just gonna be about filming into Ryan's face instead of the cards and complaining about heavy breathing, which like, you guys have been saying that plenty. It's fine. You don't have to go in too hard on the cameraman. They're just doing it. They're not like a professional video recorder or something like that. It's all right. It's not that funny. It's not that crazy.